All right. Probably got to go a long ways. I don't know why. Oh, wait. Okay, I think we're good. You say it's recording? It says it's live, right?
Yes.
Okay, we're good.
Hi, we're not new at this. We're not new at this.
We're not new at this. If you have something to look at, I didn't bring the laptop's in the car, so I didn't bring it in. So people are, looks like somebody's already on there.
Yeah, all right. So I'm going to bring it up.
So bring it up, and maybe you can see who it is, or you have to bring up the John Harris page, maybe it'll be on it, because I don't think I got a chance to share it.
Okay, and where can I find it?
It should come up as a notification if you're a friend of mine on Facebook.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, I'm here at Ventnor Coffee with the very awesome Brandon Abercrombie. There should be a live thing now. It should come up. You should have a notification that says live. This is just the... because it should come up and say John Harris is live right now.
If you're speaking to us, as I see some of
As
you
some
are.
of you are, which is cool. Give us a minute.
Yeah, give us a minute.
We're looking for... But I don't see it. You must not be my friend. But I know you are. So
We are currently unable to read your comments, so give us a moment.
Give us a moment.
Until further notice.
Until further notice.
Still talking.
Still
commenting.
talking. Maybe I'll sign in here as me, Brandon, and on Facebook if that's all right, or if there's a way to do that.
In the meantime, let's. I just want to let you know that our sponsor for this evening is LaCroix.
That's one of our sponsors.
Because we're better than you. If you ever feel like having a nice, mildly sweetened, cold can of smugness, have a LaCroix.
There you go. Hey, I think I'm going to go get something that'll let us see all these comments. So why don't you take it for a couple of minutes?
I'll take it over and I'll tell a story.
Tell a story. Ladies and gentlemen, my friend and now officially co-host for tonight, Brandon Abercrombie. It's all yours.
Thank you, sir. All right, so...
No. Thank you.
And this is new.
Go ahead.
By myself.
Woohoo!
Hosted. So what should I tell you guys about? Let's see. I'm a Virgo.
I'm a Virgo.
36 years old.
Woo!
I love jazz music. A sucker for a good self-help book. You know, that's actually a guilty pleasure of mine. But it's no longer becoming a guilty pleasure to the masses. Self-help books. It's good stuff. They help yourself. It's a good way. What else? Let me see. Divorced twice. They don't deserve me. What else? This is my favorite pen to write things with. Favorite. This is my journal. Let me see. I hate living in New Jersey. Between you and me. It's cold. It's bipolar. New Jersey weather is bipolar. Those of you who live here know that. It's pretty awful. What else? We've recently tried to cut back on caffeine.
How's that going for you?
It's okay.
Oh.
It's going good.
Yeah, great. Good for you.
Yeah. Cutting back.
Not me.
Not
Okay.
complete. So it looks like John Harris here has
Have an option.
a piece of equipment, an electronic device.
Which I will hook up as we continue onward and upwards.
This way we're able to communicate with you guys, those of you who are still commenting. You're gonna have to resubmit all your comments because we can't see them.
Well, we might see them once this is...
Yeah, we'll see them once this is up and running.
And running. That's running.
My 12-year-old son just asked me the other day, he says, "Dad, if I jerk off all the time, am I going to have semen left when I'm older and ready to make kids?"
You told him no, right? You told him at a certain age, it's over. No, you don't. Sorry, son. You only get so many times.
told him, to try to limit it to once a day, maybe twice on the weekends.
Oh,
I can't make this shit up. Like, this is my life. It's my kids.
Try this, but
It was revealed to me. I learned this fact. I learned recently that I am approximately 12.5% black, which makes a lot of sense and answers several questions. I told this to my children, and they realized they are 6.25% black, and my son asks, well, if we're 6% black,
hey, we're sideways.
am I allowed to say the N-word?
We're sideways.
Oh, we're sideways. Okay.
That's probably what some of those comments are, is that, hey, guys, you're sideways. So,
Can you adjust
see
that?
if I can change that as well. We don't need that, though. We got that. Now we got it. We're sideways. I was right. That's some of the comments. Let me see what I can do about that. While Brandon continues.
Okay, so John's gonna adjust the screen. We didn't realize it was sideways. Seriously, we didn't realize it.
Because it doesn't look it on the monitor. That's either going to be okay or upside down. Or that.
It'll say in a minute.
We are a little behind that.
Mild technical difficulties. But hey, it's all good.
Woohoo!
We're good.
Let's see.
We're good.
We're good. We should be good.
Okay.
I might have to adjust the camera in a second. I won't know.
So here's the deal.
Let me see.
I have a question. How do you guys feel about tube socks? Should we still be wearing them? Like, really? It's not 1997 anymore. Is it acceptable to wear tube socks? That's how I would like to really officially start this duo podcast. You're listening, you're commenting, so comment on that.
Tube
Are
socks.
men still allowed to wear tube socks in 2020?
Interesting. Jim Coleman, hi, how are you? Jim Coleman is the director, chief bottle washer, chairman of the board, whatever, of the Veterans United Memorial Military Museum. For some reason, I think I said it backwards, Jim.
So
correct
he's
me if I
important.
did. He is.
So he's important.
Yeah, he
I
is
wonder if he
important.
drinks LaCroix. You sound like a guy who drinks LaCroix.
I think he drinks more like straight up coffee, probably. Yep. Nick Shoot, hey, what's going on, Nick? Joe, hey, we're sideways. And no, we're not, she says. So thank you, Joe. I knew somebody would help us there. So thanks, guys. I'm here with Brandon Abercrombie, and this is The Public John on Wildfire Radio, Facebook Live. We'll be on Facebook/The Public John page tomorrow, as well as iTunes and Google Play.
That's right.
And YouTube as well.
Yeah.
So within the next couple of days, if you missed us now, you've got more than ample opportunity to get this. Thanks, Nick. I am. How are you, sir? Nice to see you, buddy. Nice to see you tuning in anyway. It's awesome. So here's the deal. We do have some things to talk about. And you see how this show goes. Brandon, the co-host / guest, comes prepared, has a book, all that stuff. I don't. But I do have in my head some things that I want to talk to Brandon about, talk to you guys about. We've got a couple things working organizational-wise, and we've got a couple people we want to thank as well. So Nick's doing great. Yeah, man, I know what you're saying, you miss cheese, man. So, but yeah, I miss him too, man. He talks just like this, and that's how I know.
What prompted that question, that comment? Who was that, Nick?
Yeah.
That just asked?
Well,
What prompted that question?
He's seen me before in comedy.
Okay.
He knows
I want to hear your answer, though. I want to hear your answer, Nick.
Oh, yeah, I do.
What prompted
Actually, yeah, I want to hear the answer. So I
say
guess
that?
I want to. Well,
You missed
I don't
Cheech
want to
Marin.
hear the answer. I want to see the
I
answer.
want to see the
I
answer.
don't want to hear it, man.
Upload your answer on a public thread so that it
On
can stay
the
there
public
forever and
thread.
potentially ruin your career in politics.
Hey, I know Nick. I don't think Nick's worried about a career in politics.
Good. Okay.
And let me know. I'll let you guys know that and a couple other voices I've done have also excluded me from ever being on SNL.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's gonna go.
So here's the deal. I haven't told John about this, but I'm going to tell him now.
Awesome.
What I would like to do for this episode of the Public John is I'm going to ask approximately 10 questions throughout the entire course of the podcast. My first question was, is wearing tube socks still okay? Even though we're no longer in the 90s, is it still okay, ladies, for men to wear tube socks?
Okay. So
Next question.
So wait a minute. I don't get to answer these.
No.
Oh, okay.
Sure. Go ahead. What's your answer?
Well, my answer would be, I have a follow-up question. Are you talking about tube socks while you're wearing shorts?
Definitely not. That's never been okay.
All right, so that's not part of the question.
No.
It's tube socks, period.
Yes.
Okay. Hey, Chrissy, how you doing, girl? Hope to chat with you later on. How you been? Nice to see you. Congratulations on your son going to military academy. That's awesome. Great lady and a great supporter by herself. She's awesome. So, Public John is here for you guys tonight, and we've got a couple things to talk about. But Brandon's first question, ask it again, Brandon.
Is it okay for men to still wear tube socks in 2020?
Is it okay for men to still wear tube socks? Apparently not, because if you can't say it, you can't wear them.
Can't wear them.
Okay. So there you go. That's question one. What's question two?
Question number 2. Does drinking LaCroix make you racist?
Ooh, drinking LaCroix makes you racist. You could have a follow-up question with that. Because of its name, does it make you think you're elite? Does it make you
It absolutely means you're a little bit smug.
You are smug. You are
If you
smug.
drink this shit, you're a little bit pompous and a little bit smug.
Oh, okay. Hey, Joe Giacomo. Hey, Joe. How's it going, buddy? So if you drink LaCroix, you're a little snotty, a little snobby, a little elitist. But the key question is, does it make you... What was your question? If you drink LaCroix, what? You forgot.
Racist.
Racist. Oh, if you drink LaCroix, are you racist, you bastards? Because you drink LaCroix.
Right.
So I'm here with an awesome Brandon Abercrombie. Let's get question 3 on, too. Because I want to make sure we get to as many of these as we can during the course of our... Do you have a question 3? If not, we'll let you percolate on that for a while.
Almond milk or soy milk?
Ooh, good question. I know my choice already because I do use one more than the other.
All right.
So there you go. Your 3 big questions for right now, folks, and hopefully we get an answer from some of you guys within the next 10 or 15 minutes. Question 1. Is it okay, ladies, for guys to wear tube socks in 2020? Question 2. If you drink LaCroix, does that make you racist? And you can see Brandon there is drinking one, so...
I'm not racist.
Well, there's a hint. There's a hint to the answer.
I have too many ethnicities in my DNA to be racist.
There you go. And if you're racist, you're fighting yourself.
Yeah.
And what was your third question?
Almond milk?
Almond milk or soy milk?
Soy milk.
There you go. Almond milk or soy milk. So if you guys want to answer those questions for us, that would be awesome. So we get a better feel for you guys. That'd be great. If you don't want to answer those questions, I understand because they are hard pressing issues. And some people may not want to come out on one side or the other. Especially the tube sock question. That could be difficult. You don't want to do that. So a couple things I want to talk about. First, we got some administrative stuff I want to get out of the way. One is Brandon is going to be the new face of Jerzee Comedy. He's going to probably be the head guy in charge of HGIC. And he's, will still be involved. I'll still be involved, and other folks as well. But Brandon, I think, is going to be the point guy. And the reason for that is, number one, he's very devoted to the venues that we've had. He's played at all of them. He knows them, and we're going to build some relationships with him in the next few weeks and few months, so that. But most of these folks know him and are aware of him already, and it's a very positive knowledge of him. He's also still very funny, so he's going to perform as well. And it's going to give folks more accessibility to be able to perform and or come to Jerzee Comedy shows because his availability is a little bit better right now. So Brandon's going to step in for us. He's agreed to do that, and that's awesome. Well, thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Jerzee Comedy, Brandon Abercrombie. Brandon will give you all his info, and at some point you'll be able to get on Jerzee Comedy, and Brandon will probably be the one answering your requests, questions, concerns, or just communicate. John Bova joined. How you doing, John? Thank you for joining in. We appreciate it. That is step one. Joe says congrats, Brandon. So there you go. It's
Thanks,
all
Joe.
about you. So she says congrats, and thanks, Joe. Joe knows that this was, partially, but this was a big thing for me. So for me to give this to you, to be honest with you, I want you to know that means I've got some serious confidence in you, and appreciate the effort you've put behind the scenes already, and looking forward to you being the public face of this thing. I think it's going to be great. So we've got that. Also, let me see. Hey, Maria Testa joined. Maria's a friend of mine from CU. Hi, Maria. How you doing? I'm just letting people know that Brandon here is going to take over Jerzee Comedy. I would say completely, as far as the Facebook, social media stuff, by maybe the end of the week, you'll have everything.
That's right. That's all me. It's all
Brandon all the time. You're going to be like your own 24-hour network. All Brandon all the time.
Yeah.
There you go. So Brandon's going to jump in there. As far as some other things, I've been told that I need to step back from some things, folks. And I know why, and and I won't go into the reasons, but I will. Some of them are health related, some of them aren't. But I need to step back and do some things and cut some ties. So, and also change up some things. So that's part of why I was looking for somebody to take Jerzee Comedy. I didn't want it to be disbanded because I think it's grown and it's got a lot of potential for folks to come out and have a good time, and for local comics to continue to come out and have places to go. So that's why Brandon got tapped on the shoulder there, as it was, figuratively speaking, of course.
Yeah.
And that's also going to affect a few other things. If you were watching the TV show last week on Quinn, with its Showtime, or if you've looked at it on the Facebook page, step back from that a little bit. It's going to resurface probably just on digital and social media, and I would say that's going to be in a few weeks. Also, the Public John podcast will continue. We've got 2 or 3 more to do this month, and then we'll be picking up probably in mid-February. We'll be back there at a new palatial Public John studio.
Yeah,
that'll be impressive. So that's being worked on as I speak, and that'll also be the same studio that will be doing the TV show, the digital show. It's Showtime with John Harris. The format for it's probably going to be a little bit different. Probably going to go to some places live, take phone calls, interact with you folks on occasion. Also do, some of them will be filmed, some of them may be live. It's going to be a mixed bag and a little more exciting, I think. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And JohnHarrisComedy.com is still up and running, and all these things will be announced, and if you have details you want to let me know. Brian Isley says, "What's up, John and Brandon? What's going on, Vince? What's going on, B? You all right, bro?"
I'm good.
All right, no, not him.
Brian's a good comic.
Brian's a good guy.
I like
Good guy. He's aight. Margie Homan joined. Hello, Margie. How you doing?
Margie, what's up?
There we go. So there's all the administrative announcements for now about the Public John and Showtime with John Harris, Jerzee Comedy, all those things. So that takes care of that, and like we said, Brandon's going to be the face for Jerzee Comedy. Tom Crowley has joined. How you doing, Tom? Nice to hear from you, brother. So that takes care of that part. Now, I have seen no answers from your questions, but we've had new people join. So if you want to reiterate your questions, just boom, 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 and
Sure.
see if they answer them.
So tonight, for no reason whatsoever, I'm going to ask 10 questions throughout the podcast.
I'm not sure we're going to get to 10. We might want to make it 5.
7.
Okay.
So the first 3. The first one is, can men still wear tube socks? Is it okay? Is it socially acceptable for men to wear tube socks in 2020, not 1997? Question number 2. Does drinking LaCroix make you racist? If not, at the very least, it clearly makes you smug.
Well, we know it does. We know it does.
It doesn't make you smug. You won't get smug by drinking it, but if you drink it willingly, you might be smug.
You might be. And what was the third one?
Third question, almond milk or soy milk?
Almond milk or soy milk? There you go. Jim Grasso joined. How you doing, Jim? Jim's from Wildfire Radio. Appreciate all the help he's given us over the time frame with the public, John. It's been awesome. Brian says yes. I would think you're talking about the tube socks. They're okay, but only if you're playing basketball.
Okay.
That's a good
Yeah,
answer.
they probably
A little disclaimer.
They catch the sweat dripping down from your knee pits. That's the section on the back of your leg.
Okay, now we're analyzing.
So that's the purpose. It's a practical reason for wearing tube socks. That makes sense.
Almond all damn day. You're right, Brian. I'm with you. There we go. There was my answer.
Same
here. And there is a difference in them too. But yeah, definitely almond all damn day. And Brian's right. Racism makes you racist. Just that simple. There's no He's dead on.
That's a good point.
Racism
makes
you racist.
Yeah.
Bingo, done,
Yeah.
over, next. So I agree with Brian on all these.
I do.
Basketball, tube socks feel better. Racism definitely makes you racist. And almond over soy all damn day. So thanks, B. And if anybody else differs from that, I want to hear why. Because I can't see why. Especially number 2. Racism makes you racist. LaCroix's got nothing to do with it. So we've talked about a couple of things. And I just want to tell you a couple of things. One is the podcast is actually sponsored and brought to you by Casper's Power Washing over in the Cumberland County, South Jersey area, but all over the area. Albert Casper and his guys will come and give you an estimate, a free estimate, and he's been everywhere from Cape May up to the Camden area, Cherry Hill. And he will travel there. Those guys will travel there. They'll give you a free estimate. And let me tell you something, folks. I've seen some of the buildings they've done. I know of a couple of them that were considering getting the buildings completely painted or completely replaced with vinyl siding. And then when Albert and his guys got done power washing the building, it looked like a completely different building, and they just said, you know what, this is all we need. So a lot less money to power wash your building than it would be to paint or side it, and a lot quicker. It only takes a couple of hours, 3-4 hours probably. These guys will also do decks or anything you can think of, garages, barns, whatever, probably boats if you have them, and down here we have some of them. They'll power wash whatever you have, and they do a great job. So that's Casper's Power Washing. You can Google them. Their phone number's on Google. Check them out. And if you need to get a hold of them and can't, you can also get a hold of me here on my regular Facebook page or the Public John page on Facebook, and I can reach out to them or get you their phone number. But it is Casper's Power Washing LLC. They are on Google. Look them up, and they have a Facebook page too. And both of them will have pictures of before and after shots. So you might want to check that out. Hey, my sister-in-law Kathy's just joined us from Georgia. Hi, Kath. How you doing? Kathy's lost a boatload of weight. I saw some pictures. I know she's been eating a lot healthier and doing some things.
So she drinks soy milk or almond. I'm sorry.
So
almond
she probably
milk.
drinks almond milk.
Almond milk.
Hopefully. That's a question, Kath, in case you missed it. Brandon brought up 3 questions. I'm looking at Brian's name here. 3 questions, and one was almond milk or soy milk. Well, it doesn't matter what number. Another question was, is it okay for men to wear tube socks in 2020? And the third question is, does drinking LaCroix make you racist? And there's no particular reason for those questions. Brandon, they're just pressing on Brandon so much that he wants to know. So anybody wants to answer those questions, that's great. So I'm going to ask you something. I know we listened to him again while we were sitting here. And any of you folks that want to chime in, please do. We'll try to get to some of your responses. We may not get to all of them. First off, I want to talk about Ricky Gervais's opening monologue and a couple other jokes too, I guess, during the Golden Globes. What did you think?
I thought it was bold. I mean, I don't really know that I have a very original opinion. It was awesome. It was awesome. I appreciated it. He was being honest. He was being completely sincere. You know, Ricky Gervais, has a reputation for being a ball buster, for sure, being a controversial comic. But at the same time, he doesn't share these opinions or display these facts unless they've been well thought out and well researched. I mean, he's being honest. Everything that he says is it's the truth.
Yeah.
So,
and even if you don't necessarily agree with him, he's not up there just spouting off.
He doesn't care.
He's done the research, but he also doesn't care if he offends somebody. Yeah. This is my opinion, and he makes you know that it's his opinion. It's personal. I loved it. I thought it was absolutely great.
Yeah.
One of the things I did like is he let you know right up front. I loved his accent. I don't know why they picked me again. He's like, but I'm never going to do this again.
Yeah.
So that kind of gave him the freedom to say, I'm going to say what I think. I'm going to say what I want. But you can tell it was also thought out. And he didn't pull any punches.
No, not at all.
And he doesn't. That's what I like about it.
What's interesting is he's been the host consistently for, I don't know the exact number of years, but several years now.
Well, this is his fifth time. They've skipped him a couple times, but they brought him back.
Okay.
And he's like, I don't know why.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm back. I don't know.
There's already an online petition to have him come back for next year.
But I think actually it's already been announced that Tina Fey and Amy Poehler will host it next year. And I'll tell you what, though, go back and watch.
All right, so if Tina Fey, look, this is an unpopular opinion that's going to get me in trouble.
Oh, you might get
I'm going to lose some fans.
Oh, he's
if Tina Fey and Amy Poehler are going to host, then you know what? I better not say this.
No, you better not say it. They've hosted before, and I'll tell you, they've been a little cutting edge a couple times. Go back and watch a couple of their things.
They're smart. They're great writers,
right?
For sure.
And they do,
and I mean that.
But they don't go obviously as far as Ricky Gervais.
Fuck it, I'll say it. If they're going to host, you're probably going to hear a bunch of jokes about how terrible men and the male species are. That's it. That's good. That's what you're going to hear.
Well, I guess we'll have to wait and see then.
Yeah.
We'll have to wait and see.
Watch. 10 years from now, I'm going to get presented with the opportunity to host the Oscars or something, and then I'm going to agree, and then they're going to pull this fucking podcast up, and I'm going to get fired because of the shit that I just said.
Well, I think you're wrong. I think what's going to happen is you're going to get a Saturday Night Live offer, and that's going to get pulled. Forget it. You're done.
Yeah.
It's over. But at least if you were drinking LaCroix, you might not have been racist.
Right.
You were sexist, but you weren't racist. You think it'd be different then. Any of you have any opinion? And if you haven't seen it, the clip is on YouTube. You can go in and see, just put in Ricky Gervais Golden Globes, and you can look at this year's monologues, as well as other years he's done as well. And if you want, you can see what Brandon's talking about too. Tina Fey and Amy Poehler have hosted it before, and you can see if you think there's a background there for Brandon's opinion. So we can go from there. I think it'll be interesting. So you guys get a chance, check those two things out. Any comics that are watching now or will watch later, I think Brandon speaks pretty well when he says that he's thought this out. He's got basically an educated opinion about it, and it is his opinion. He makes that clear.
Ricky Gervais.
Ricky Gervais, I'm talking about. Yeah. And I just think I think the guy's got brass balls, and I give him all the credit in the world because he can go up there and play it soft and maybe come back every year and get more exposure for whatever projects he's doing. Like he was saying, I don't care. He really doesn't, and that was the cool part, and that's what I liked. And he's like that with his stand-up. If you've ever seen that, so I really like him. And I think you either love him or you hate him.
Yeah.
But then again, to me, that's the way it should be with most comics and most entertainers. You really, really love them, or you really, really hate them.
And I mean, undoubtedly, he's currently one of the more successful comics out there.
Right.
I mean, I'd put him in the top, 5.
He's up there. I don't know if he's
Not
might
best.
be 5 right
I mean,
now.
top 5 most successful that are currently still working. That's what I mean.
And that's important too. The currently
Yeah.
still working part is important. Speaking of currently still working and maybe getting back to doing some work, Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
Terrific. Same thing, folks. If you haven't seen it, go up and look for his acceptance speech on the Mark Twain Prize. Actually, on PBS.org, you can watch the whole Mark Twain Prize show.
You can watch the whole thing on demand.
It was great. On demand as well. But his acceptance speech, if you're a comedian, it's almost like the Newt Rockne coach in football, to me. If you sit back and listen to what he says to the audience about being a comedian, and thereby giving comedians a positive outlook. Go forward, push the limits, push it, do what you want, say what you want. There's somebody in the room representing you. He's saying to the audience. I mean, he lets you know it's not easy. He lets an audience know it's not easy for a comedian to go on stage. There's a lot they have to think about. And in today's day and age, unfortunately, some comics do have to think about what they say, or at least feel they do. They can't go up and be Ricky Gervais.
Right.
You've got to get to a certain level to be Dave Chappelle or Ricky Gervais and say what you think. But can you ever get to that level? Well, chances are you can't if you don't do it in the beginning and build up.
Yeah.
Because you can't just be, lack of a better term, wishy-washy, milquetoast, and then get to that level and blow it open.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to happen. So
I would even say, on that topic, being true to yourself is one of the things that Dave said. Just being honest and true to yourself. That's one of the most difficult things, I think, for the beginning of one's comedy career. Those first few years. The toughest thing about being a new comic is finding your voice. Figuring out who you're going to be up there on stage. Why are you doing this now? Why do we need to listen to you? And what's pushing you? What's motivating you?
Yeah.
Are you the bitter single dad, or are you the mildly racist Southerner? Whatever. Everyone has a voice. Every comic out there has a specific voice and a message and an audience that they speak for.
Absolutely.
And finding what your voice is as a comic is something that takes a few years.
One of the best examples of that is to go back and look at the story of how the character of Larry the Cable Guy became developed. Yeah. And how many efforts and characters and different ways of doing comedy that he presented before he found that character was the one to work and hone in on and everything. Yeah. And that's a perfect example of what you're talking about, I think. It takes a while for a person to find out their voice and then how to present certain things. You can write material, if you present it one way, it may not work. Say the same identical material on a whole different mannerism and a whole different voice, and it kicks off. Yeah. So, you're dead on with that. I mean, be true to yourself. Yeah. Find that voice that works best for you and get your thoughts out there and get your stuff out there that you think is funny.
Because I'll tell you what, if you get up on stage, first of all, public speaking in general is already one of the most difficult things to do. Comedy, I think, is even a little bit more difficult because you have to rely on laughs from people and whatnot. But I know from personal experience that if you say or do anything on that stage that's even remotely disingenuous or dishonest, that crowd's going to know. They're going to see it. They're going to see right through that bullshit facade you're putting up, and it's just not going to go well. It's a really soul-crushing process.
I don't like having my soul crushed. I can't have that. No.
We don't.
Manny Hurtado joined. Hey, Manny, how you doing? Nice to talk to you, buddy. Nice to see that you're tuning in. You're watching and listening to The Public John right here on Wildfire Radio, Facebook Live, facebook.com/ThePublicJohn. iTunes, Google Play, and probably in your neighborhood on a loudspeaker, who knows. Everywhere I can put it, we're putting it. I'm here with my guest / co-host, because I made him do some work early in the beginning, Brandon Abercrombie, who is the new face of Jerzee Comedy. And thanks, Brandon, for taking that. Welcome aboard, brother. I think it's going to be a lot of fun for you and for comics and for all of us, I think. Going to be a great time for the venues and all. Spring is coming, so I wanted to make this before spring hits us in a couple of months and get everything in place. So
understand, for those of you who aren't familiar with Jerzee Comedy and the process, and what John has done with the company over the years and how he's built it up over time. What this means is we're going to continue to give comedy to the public. Atlantic County, South Jersey area predominantly, put on comedy shows, a few a month. I'll be hosting the open mic here at Ventnor Coffee, which is monthly, and then in the summertime it'll be more often, sometimes bi-weekly, as well as the comedy shows that have been at Leatherheads Comedy Club in Egg Harbor City. I'll continue with that, hosting those shows as well, and the plan is to expand beyond that too, all up and down the Jersey Shore throughout the summer, when we get the shore traffic. So we'll have a lot of comedy shows coming up soon. I promise it.
And Brandon's been instrumental in helping us in a couple of methods. Of course, one of Jerzee Comedy's big missions is to keep comedy shows affordable, so that the hard-working folks can come out and it doesn't cost an arm and a leg to come out and see a good show and have a lot of fun. And these places that we go to have done that and let us do that, and we're glad that they have. We've also done some fundraisers and some other things as well. All the Jerzee Comedy is always available to help with a fundraiser. If you have any ideas, let us know, and we can come in and help you how to do that. And it's a lot of fun. So Brandon's agreed to take over some of most of the duties, I should say, and we appreciate that. Let me see. There was something else I was going to bring up. I do want to thank Ventnor Coffee for letting us come in here tonight and do this. Christine and Laura and all the crew here have been great to us over the last couple of years. When I first started doing stand-up, they let me have all the time that I needed to do stuff. They were great. And this is a terrific venue. They're very supportive of the arts, very supportive for music, games, and not just the open mic, but anytime. So if you call Ventnor Coffee or go on their Facebook page, if you have an idea of something you want to do, run it by these folks, and they're more than willing to give you a shot, to give it a try. So that's facebook.com/Ventnor Coffee. And you can give Christine and the folks here a shout, because they're very supportive. They do great work, so we want to thank them for letting us come in here and do the podcast pretty much whenever we can, if they don't have something going. So we're glad that they do. And we've had a couple times where there's been live people in here watching, and the staff has watched, so it's been fun.
It's always fun.
Yep, always a fun time here. So we want to thank them, and it's been a lot of fun over the years. So, and hey, anywhere I can get coffee, I'm good. Or
LaCroix.
Or LaCroix.
Nice cold can of smoke.
We're not getting, except for Brian, and we thank you, Brian, for the input. Let's see if we have more questions. You had want to do 2 more questions?
Let's see.
Since we're not getting any reply on these 2, maybe.
What is? Okay, let's go a little deep.
We're going deep.
What was the best decade for entertainment in general? Okay, so that's music, movies and TV, comedy. What was the best decade?
Wow.
I can answer it right now. I say
you
the
have your
90s.
answer, of course.
The 90s for sure.
90s for sure.
was amazing for everything.
Were you alive in the 60s?
I was not alive in the 60s.
You didn't get to experience the 60s, did you? How about the 50s?
Nope, it was not.
I was going to say, if you said yes, but you weren't alive here. Okay, now we're into Shirley MacLaine land and reincarnation. And did you ever notice, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
And I'm sure somebody has said this before. I don't remember hearing it, but I've always wondered, why do people that get reincarnated always think they come back as royalty or somebody rich or somebody great? Why couldn't they have come back as like a cockroach or something? You know? Or,
Maybe.
you know, some other parasite. You know?
Yeah.
And in my former life, I was bacteria. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, I don't get it. You know, but, hey, Joe Jackson joined. Still up in Pennsylvania, I think. How you doing, Joe? Joe was a boss of mine way back, basically in the late 50s. Not really, but early 90s. Joe was a boss of mine. He's a good guy. So, how you doing, Joe? Nice to see you. So yeah, I don't understand the whole reincarnation bit. How you would know? You know what I mean? Like I don't remember any previous life I may have had, unless this is my first one. You know, so. But hey, maybe we can talk to Shirley MacLaine about it someday.
Yeah.
Maybe she knows. So we've got that going for us, which is nice.
It is.
Which is nice.
It is nice.
So, all right, so you had we've got the 4 questions out there now.
The fourth
The fourth question is
what was the best decade for entertainment? So comedy, music, movies.
Total.
Yeah.
Best entertainment. Total.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just in
I'm
general.
really going with that.
Sports, whatever. Just
Sports, whatever.
Throw that, all of it in there.
All of it in there. Whoa.
Whatever you think is. My answer was the
What was your
90s.
answer? The 90s.
I think that was a great time for just about every genre of music. You know, rock was really great.
Rock
In the
was
90s, the grunge scene and all that was pretty good. Hip hop, especially hip hop.
Hip.
You know, I was born at a time where I was like.
Do you know whose birthday it is today?
I don't.
Ironic, you're wearing a shirt. It's not his birthday.
Okay.
Who else's could it be? Should you be wearing someone else's shirt today, maybe?
I don't know. Tell me.
Because Notorious B.I.G.
Okay. All right.
His birthday today.
I admittedly should have known that, but I didn't know that. But yeah, so I was born at a time where I was like fortunate enough to
I
witness.
thought you were going to do an old Steve Martin line here for a minute.
I was fortunate enough to witness like the birth to a degree and like the glowing up of hip hop. You know, it was nice to see hip hop like blossom into what it has. You know, especially like in the '90s, which was like, you know, arguably, as they say, the golden age of hip hop.
The golden.
That was when we still had conscious hip hop, like in the early '90s, and then later on when we had Biggie and Tupac and like the Wu-Tang Clan, they just took things to a totally different level.
Totally.
I think. But even other things, movies. There were some really good movies in the '90s.
There were.
Really good.
Very good movies in the 90s, yeah.
Comedians, same thing. That was, you know, the explosion of, like that was when Andrew Dice Clay was really big.
Yeah,
Sam
Sam
Kinison.
Kinison. A lot of people took off in the 90s. As far as comedy was concerned, it was a great era for comedy. But it was a good era. It wasn't bad. But
Yeah.
some older people obviously will argue. It all has to do with experience.
Yeah.
So I would say to people, which is probably a very hard question. You're going to get a lot of answers. One, and I don't want to hear any BS, but my question would be, who is your favorite comedian? So, folks, if you're getting this question and you want to answer that, who is your favorite comedian? We're live here on Facebook.com. You can feel free to answer that if you want, or don't. Do you have one favorite comedian? Got to be one. And it's going to be tough, isn't it?
I'm gonna give the opinion that
There's more than one.
a lot of people are going to have, and that's Dave Chappelle, just because of what he's done with comedy.
Okay.
I mean, during his acceptance, that episode, you know, when he accepted the Mark Twain Prize, they're interviewing Eddie Murphy, which is one of my personal favorite comedians of all time, and he said that Dave Chappelle really stretched the genre, you know, really took it to new places, and I honestly believe he did. You know, what he did with the Chappelle Show, with sketch comedy, it was groundbreaking, like absurdly, it was awesome. It was amazing to watch.
And
you know,
one thing Eddie Murphy did say is that Dave Chappelle is one of the most intelligent, smartest comedians
that's another
there
thing.
is.
There's been other comedians in the past, George Carlin, for example,
George Carlin is another
who
one.
throw some intelligence, you know, into their.
Impressive.
some intellect into their stand-up specials. But yeah, Dave Chappelle just has a way about him where, you know, he just starts off, you know, just funny and just brings you all the way up and then just fucking slaps you with wisdom.
Face, yeah.
And then back down with some comedy and then drops the mic.
Chappelle show was a masterpiece.
Yeah.
And I understand, obviously, mentally he had to take the break and go to Africa, but I think it made the show that much better that he realized I don't want to keep going if I can't give it 100% creatively.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he lost a ton of money
Yeah.
by stopping from doing the show.
Yeah.
But he realized that he just couldn't do it the way it needed to be done. So I respect him not only as a comic, but I respect him as an individual because, I mean,
That's right.
he threw a lot of wealth away and had to come back and basically start all over again in a way because he hadn't been on stage or anything for a long time. But he's also been very supportive of other comics, and his acceptance speech is a perfect indication of that for the Mark Twain Prize. It was great. So, is he my favorite of all time? I've been around a little longer than you, so I've seen a few more. And though I sat here and said one comic, I will tell you that it's hard to pick one comic and say just for laughs, that's the guy. You know, or that's the female, that's the girl, just for laughs, who's the funniest, and it's still tough. You know, you can go with Rodney Dangerfield, you know, non-stop, boom, 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 boom. I mean, you're laughing the whole time. But then in the 90s, you could go with Eddie Murphy. And even though it's a story, his stories are littered with jokes as well, and impressions, and boom, same thing.
Eddie Murphy's definitely in my top 5.
I give Eddie Murphy, when he was at his height, a bit of an edge over Chappelle. But I don't think Chappelle happens without Eddie Murphy.
Yeah.
Because he pushed the boundaries in the beginning.
Yeah.
And he will tell you that he doesn't exist without Richard Pryor.
Right.
And Pryor would tell you that he doesn't exist without this one.
Yeah.
I mean, so there is almost like a ladder that they ascend to. Here's the foundation. Here's the next step. Here's the next step. Here's the next step. But you're right. Andrew Dice Clay was huge in the 90s. Sam Kinison, huge in the 90s. Though at times they didn't like each other, but yet Rodney bridged that gap. They hated each other.
I think Andrew Dice Clay, I think, I might be misquoting, but I believe Andrew Dice Clay was the first comedian to do arena tours. I think. Like
he was the first person as a comic to ever sell out Madison Square Garden.
Wow.
And he did it twice. And he was the first comic to ever sell out Madison Square Garden. And they said it was sold out in hours. It was like, bam, when he was at his height. Yet I saw him live in Atlantic City, and I actually saw him live once in Massachusetts. Massachusetts ticket was $10.
Wow.
I mean, so he has had up and downs, as every comic usually does.
Yeah.
Don Rickles was non-stop hysterical, and outside of 2 or 3 premise jokes, didn't really do a set. He came out and basically ad-libbed every night, every show. So every show was different when you watch somebody like Don Rickles. Yeah. Daniel Stroop, hi Daniel, how you doing? He's joined us too. We've had a few people join us tonight. I want to thank all of you. We appreciate it here on The Public John, as well as Facebook.com, WildfireRadio.com. The Public John is on there as well. And we're going to be we are on iTunes. The show will be loaded there tomorrow on Google Play. So if you'd like to listen to us in the car and take a drive, hey, you can listen to us, but don't tailgate, please. Back up a little bit. You know, you don't want what's her name from the Mayhem guy coming out and giving you a bunch of crap from was it Austin? Is he doing the Mayhem?
I don't know.
The guy. I guess it's one of them car teams. I don't know. So be careful when you're listening to us because we don't want you to get too excited or in traffic. You know, so. but we're having a lot of fun. We got a few more minutes to go here with Brandon Abercrombie, who is my pal and taking over the public face of Jerzee Comedy. So that face is not just going to be seen on post office walls anymore. He's going to be out there in public and doing some
Police
things
beat
for you.
section in the paper.
That's it. So yeah, so keep an eye out for Brandon and Jerzee Comedy. It's going to kick off. It's going to be great. Going to be a lot of fun this spring and this summer coming up. So I want to give a shout out to a couple of people. One is Jim Comas over at the VUMMM in New Gretna. Is where the Veterans United Military Memorial Museum is. Make sure, folks, you go check that out. It's right on Route 9, right on the state highway. They will probably have something coming up in late summer as far as a fundraiser, but it's a great place to go to check out artifacts and accounts of our military in every war from, I believe, World War I up to the present conflicts. There's artifacts there, letters from soldiers, proclamations, all kinds of historical events. And the folks there can also give you some historical information. And they also do tours. They'll come out and give you guys a tour, or come out and also give presentations at schools and churches and libraries and places like that. They were just in Atlantic City over the weekend at a convention. They were part of that. So that's the Veterans United Military Memorial Museum. Make sure you go out and check those folks out in Tuckerton when you get a chance. And I think they have a Facebook page too as well. So I would make sure, they're a non-profit. They don't get supported by any tax money or anything. So what they've done with that facility is great. And you get a chance to go out there, check that out. Let me see. And you are sampling a muffin, which we were told we could do. And you're making sure you take advantage of that. You should. That's here at Ventnor Coffee, Dorset Avenue. Make sure you come out and patronize these guys because they're great. And like you said, if you have any type of act that you would like to do or any kind of a function you'd like to do here, get a hold of them on Facebook, facebook.com/Ventnor Coffee. I think we're going to wrap this up, I think, brother.
Okay.
You got anything else you want to add?
I don't. I really don't.
You really don't?
I really don't. I think we've covered everything and
We've covered everything.
made the necessary announcements.
Yes, over and over again ad nauseum. So,
Yeah.
we want to thank you guys for tuning in. This has been The Public John. We'll be back on tomorrow night with Jim Santura, the author, a South Jersey author, of the most underrated rock albums from 1970 to 2015, I believe it is. You'll see more about it tomorrow. He's already written a book. The book is available everywhere. Just type in underrated rock albums. It's on Amazon. You can buy it anywhere you can buy a silly book. This book's not silly though. I love this book. You'll be surprised at some of the great music that's in there. And it's all music that you can actually look up and listen to while you're reading the book. It's awesome. So it's almost interactive. I'll be on here with him. Jim and I DJ'd together in college years ago, so it was a lot of fun. So we'll chat with Jim tomorrow, and on Friday we'll be on with Bravo Performance Studios and JP Lumley. We'll be on with her, and they'll talk, and that's a perfect segue to coming into probably Ventnor Coffee or something down the road. So that'll be a lot of fun. So the next couple of nights we'll be back on. I want to thank Brandon, co-host / guest tonight, my friend, and thank you for taking Jerzee Comedy to the next level. I think you'll be able to do that, and I got faith in you, pal. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
Also, I do want to mention that though Brandon's taking over and he's given me a lot of credit, and I thank him for that. But Andy Julia was also a big factor in us starting Jerzee Comedy way back when. And I don't want to. I want to make sure that we thank Andy and anybody that knows Andy.
Can I just thank him by saying this true story? Andy Julia was the very first local comic that I was introduced to when I first like announced that I was going to try comedy, and I did one open mic.
Right.
A buddy of mine sent me a message and said, well, hey, my friend Andy Julia does comedy. You should, try to connect with him. And I did. Sent him a friend request. I would send him messages all the time, like asking him questions about writing jokes and getting shows and everything. And he always answered my questions.
Yep.
Thoroughly.
Yeah.
So Andy was very, very instrumental in not only Jerzee Comedy, but me starting out as a comic. Honestly, he did a lot. So
Yeah.
if you're listening, thank you.
So if you're listening, Andy, thank you. And if you're not listening, thank you anyway, damn it. Screw you. Actually, we hope you do, but we appreciate everything you've done for Jerzee Comedy and for comedy around here as well. And I hope you get back out there a little bit more, and good luck, my friend, because you're funny, so we'll go from there.
Bitch.
He said, bitch.
So there are some people to thank, but we're going to be back on, like I said, next couple of nights we'll be on, and then we'll take a little bit of a hiatus probably until mid-February. So thank you guys for joining us. Brandon, if you would go over there and hit the equipment to the bottom right, you'll see a thing there. Thank you, sir, for coming on tonight. Thank you, folks, for tuning in. We will see you soon tomorrow night, 7 o'clock with Jim Santora, the author from South Jersey. Thanks, folks. Have a great night.
Finish?